Welcome back to the channel where we explore the strange, dark, and mysterious. Tonight, we're shining a light on something we all see but rarely consider: the trash. Garbage collectors witness the secrets we try to throw away. Sometimes those secrets are horrifying. These aren't stories about old furniture or odd trinkets. These are tales that will make your skin crawl. Prepare yourself for 5 of the most chilling discoveries ever made in the trash. Moments that changed lives and revealed the darkness lurking in everyday life. Let's begin. Our first story unfolds in a quiet suburb, where Dave, a veteran garbage man, thought he'd seen it all. One morning he noticed several heavy, duct-taped black bags outside a neat blue house. The smell was overpowering, unlike anything he'd encountered. Lifting a bag, it tore open, revealing something pale inside: a human hand. Shocked, Dave called the police, unable to process the horror. The bags contained dismembered remains, turning the peaceful street into a crime scene. The investigation revealed a domestic tragedy, but for Dave, the trauma lingered. Every black bag after that day filled him with dread. Sometimes, the most ordinary routines can lead to the darkest discoveries. Dave's life, and his view of the world, would never be the same. The sun beat down on the Florida landscape, a humid blanket clinging to everything. The air was thick, heavy with the promise of another sweltering day. It was the kind of morning where even the shadows seemed to sweat. For Marco, a garbage collector on his usual route, this was just another Tuesday. His days were typically defined by the oppressive heat, the endless parade of overflowing bins, and the occasional encounter with opportunistic raccoons, always eager for a free meal. The raccoons were a constant presence, a furry, masked reminder that he wasn't the only one scavenging in this urban wilderness. But this particular day was destined to be different. As he rounded a corner, he spotted something unusual sitting beside a row of bins: a large, heavy wooden box. It was old, weathered, and out of place amidst the usual household waste. What caught his attention were the evenly spaced holes drilled into its sides. They were clearly intentional, not the result of damage or decay. He wondered what could possibly be inside. Curiosity piqued, Marco decided to investigate. He cautiously approached the box and, bracing himself, began to lift it. It was surprisingly heavy, much heavier than it looked. As he strained to raise the box higher, a chilling hiss emanated from within. It was a low, guttural sound that sent a shiver down his spine. Hesitantly, his heart pounding in his chest, he set the box down and began to pry the lid open. The wood was old and stiff, resisting his efforts. Finally, with a groan, the lid popped free. Marco recoiled in horror at what he saw. The box wasn't filled with trash or forgotten belongings. It was packed, overflowing, with a writhing mass of venomous snakes. Rattlesnakes, their diamond-patterned backs glistening menacingly. Copperheads, their hourglass markings a stark warning. And cottonmouths, their white mouths agape in silent threat. They were all tangled together, a living, breathing nightmare of scales and venom. Marco stumbled backward, barely managing to avoid a deadly strike from one of the agitated reptiles. Heart racing, adrenaline coursing through his veins, he fumbled for his phone and frantically called animal control, his voice trembling with terror. When authorities arrived, they carefully secured the box and its dangerous contents. Their initial suspicion pointed towards an illegal reptile collector, someone who had likely found themselves unable to care for their collection and had resorted to this reckless act of abandonment. The bizarre incident quickly made its way into the local news, a cautionary tale of the hidden dangers lurking in unexpected places. But for Marco, the fear lingered long after the news cameras had gone. The image of that writhing mass of snakes was burned into his memory, a constant reminder of his brush with death. Now, every discarded box, every closed container, held a potential threat. The mundane task of collecting garbage had become a nerve-wracking exercise in vigilance. The job he had once approached with a sense of routine now felt like a daily test of courage, a constant battle against the unknown dangers hidden within the refuse of everyday life. Sometimes, in the shadows of overflowing bins and forgotten alleys, the trash hides more than just discarded objects. It conceals dangers that slither, hiss, and wait. Marco never looked at a discarded box the same way again, forever haunted by the chilling hiss and the terrifying contents of the hissing box. In a quaint New England town, nestled amongst rolling hills and historic homes, lived Al, a seasoned garbage man. He wasn't just any garbage collector. Al had seen it all during his years on the route. He knew the rhythm of the town, the early morning bustle, the quiet afternoons, and the secrets hidden within the trash cans lining the streets. He'd encountered strange objects, bizarre discards, and the occasional forgotten treasure. But nothing could have prepared him for what he was about to find on a seemingly ordinary Tuesday morning. As he approached a particularly ornate trash can, the kind that belonged to one of the older, grander houses in town, something caught his eye. It wasn't the usual assortment of discarded newspapers or empty food containers. Perched precariously on the edge of the bin, as if waiting to be discovered, was an antique porcelain doll. Its delicate features were eerily captivating, a stark contrast to the mundane waste surrounding it. The doll seemed out of place, a relic from a bygone era abandoned in the harsh reality of modern disposal. Intrigued, Al reached out to examine the doll more closely. That's when he noticed a small, folded piece of paper tied to its wrist with a faded ribbon. He carefully untied the note and unfolded it, revealing a handwritten message scrawled in hurried ink: "Do not return." The stark warning sent a shiver down his spine. It was an odd thing to find attached to a doll, a sense of foreboding clinging to the simple words. Despite the unsettling message, Al couldn't bring himself to leave the doll behind. He was amused by the strangeness of it all, and he knew his wife, a collector of unique and unusual items, would appreciate it. He thought it would make a great addition to her collection. So, with a shrug and a chuckle, he carefully placed the doll on the passenger seat of his truck, deciding to take it home. That night, after Al had presented the doll to his wife, and they had placed it on a shelf in their living room, strange things began. A subtle shift in the atmosphere, an unsettling feeling that something was amiss. It started with unexplained giggling, a faint, high-pitched sound that seemed to emanate from the doll itself. At first, they dismissed it as their imagination, the product of a long day, but then objects began moving on their own. A book would fall from a shelf, a picture frame would tilt precariously on the wall. A sense of being watched permeated the house, an invisible presence that made the hairs on the back of their necks stand on end. The doll's eyes, once seemingly innocent, now seemed to follow them around the room, their gaze piercing and unsettling. Its painted smirk seemed to grow more sinister with each passing hour, a silent mockery of their growing fear. The strange occurrences escalated into a series of terrifying events. Picture frames shattered on the floor, furniture overturned, and a chilling draft swept through the house, even with all the windows closed. Al's wife, now genuinely terrified, begged him to get rid of the doll, pleading with him to remove the source of their torment. It was then that Al remembered the warning note, the simple yet ominous message: "Do not return." Understanding the gravity of the situation, Al acted swiftly. He carefully sealed the doll in a sturdy box, drove to the old bridge on the outskirts of town, and with a heavy heart, threw the box into the dark, swirling river below. Almost immediately, the disturbances ceased. The house returned to its former state of peace and quiet. The oppressive atmosphere lifted like a heavy fog. From that day forward, Al never doubted the existence of the supernatural. He had witnessed firsthand the power of the unknown, the consequences of ignoring a simple warning. Among the garbage collectors of the town, the story of the doll became a legend, a cautionary tale whispered among the ranks. A grim reminder that some things are thrown away for a reason, banished from the world for the safety of others, and that some warnings, no matter how strange or unsettling, should never, ever be ignored. Sometimes, in the mundane routine of everyday life, extraordinary secrets lie hidden, waiting to be unearthed. We often overlook the significance of the ordinary, the discarded, the things we deem as worthless. But what if the key to unlocking a long-forgotten mystery lay buried beneath layers of refuse? What if the answers we seek are not in grand libraries or ancient texts, but in the very things we throw away? Sometimes, trash reveals not horror, but long-buried truth. The story we're about to tell is a testament to this very notion. It's a tale of how a simple act of waste disposal led to the unraveling of a decades-old cold case, bringing closure to a family that had long given up hope. It's a reminder that even in the darkest corners of society, justice can prevail, and that the most unlikely of heroes can emerge from the most unexpected of places. This is a story about the power of observation, the importance of never giving up, and the enduring human spirit that seeks truth, no matter how deeply it may be buried. Frank, nearing retirement, a man who had spent his life collecting the discarded remnants of society, was about to stumble upon something that would change everything. He was a seasoned sanitation worker, a familiar face in the neighborhood, known for his dedication and work ethic. The years had etched lines of experience on his face, each one telling a story of countless early mornings and back-breaking labor. He had seen it all, the good, the bad and the ugly, but nothing could have prepared him for what he was about to find. On one seemingly ordinary route, amidst the usual piles of garbage, he found a blood-stained child's jacket, a stark and unsettling discovery that immediately sent shivers down his spine. The vibrant red fabric, now marred by dark, ominous stains, hinted at a tragedy, a story of innocence lost and a life cut short. It was a jarring contrast to the mundane reality of his job, a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of everyday life, and a rusty knife in a dumpster. The blade, corroded with age and neglect, seemed to whisper tales of violence and despair. It was an unsettling combination, the jacket and the knife, a chilling tableau that painted a grim picture in Frank's mind. He knew instinctively that this was more than just discarded trash. This was evidence, a potential clue to a crime that had long gone unsolved. He remembered a decades-old missing child case, a story that had haunted the community for years, a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring pain of loss. The image of the missing girl, plastered on posters and newspaper clippings, was etched in his memory. The girl had vanished wearing a red jacket, a detail that sent a jolt of recognition through Frank. The pieces began to fall into place, the puzzle of the past slowly coming together. He knew he had to act, that he couldn't simply ignore what he had found. Frank called the police, his voice trembling with a mixture of apprehension and determination. He relayed his discovery, providing every detail he could remember, hoping that it would be enough to reignite the investigation. And the evidence matched the cold case. The authorities, initially skeptical, were soon convinced by the compelling nature of the findings. The jacket, the knife, the location, it all pointed to a connection with the missing girl. The cold case was reopened, breathing new life into a file that had long been gathering dust. The apartment's former tenant, recently deceased, became the prime suspect. His past was shrouded in mystery, his life a series of unanswered questions, was linked to the crime. The investigation intensified, detectives meticulously piecing together the fragments of the past, determined to uncover the truth. DNA confirmed the girl's fate, providing irrefutable proof of the connection between the suspect and the victim. The truth, long hidden, was finally brought to light, finally giving her family closure after 25 years. The news brought a mix of emotions, grief, relief, and a sense of justice finally served. The family, who had endured decades of uncertainty and pain, could finally lay their daughter to rest, knowing that her killer had been identified. Frank was hailed as a hero, his actions celebrated by the community and the media. He became a symbol of hope, a testament to the power of ordinary people to make a difference. Though he felt he'd just done his job, he remained humble, deflecting the praise and emphasizing the importance of remembering the victim and her family. The discovery was a somber reminder of the enduring impact of crime and the importance of seeking justice, no matter how long it takes. The trash can hold the answers to mysteries that haunt generations. It serves as a powerful illustration of how the past can resurface in the most unexpected ways, reminding us that we must never forget the victims of crime and that we must always strive to bring closure to their families. Sometimes, justice is found in the most unexpected places, carried on the shoulders of the most unlikely heroes. For Frank, it was a powerful end to a long career, a testament to the fact that even in the twilight of one's life, one can still make a profound impact on the world. On a freezing night, Kevin, working a late shift, heard faint cries from a dumpster. Expecting a kitten, he found a newborn baby, barely alive, wrapped in a plastic bag. Horrified, he cradled the infant against his chest, calling for help. Paramedics said his quick action saved the baby's life. The child, named Hope, became a symbol of resilience. Kevin's story made headlines, a rare miracle amid darkness. The mother was found, her story tragic, but the focus remained on the baby's survival. For Kevin, it was a moment that changed him forever. Sometimes the most precious things are found in the most desolate places, and sometimes a garbage man becomes a hero. That concludes our journey into the shadows of the sanitation world. From horror to hope, these stories reveal the secrets our trash can hold. Garbage collectors are silent witnesses to society's hidden realities. Next time you take out the trash, remember, you never know what's lurking in the darkness. If you enjoyed these stories, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.